Hi, everyone. This is Drea. Welcome to the Guest List Show. And on today's show, we have a very special guest. Her name is Wendy Ho. She is running for trustee of Evergreen Community College in San Jose, California. And you guys will get to know all about her, what she's doing, and why she is running. So we'll be back in a bit. Hang tight here on the Guest List Show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Guest List Show. And sitting next to me is Wendy Ho. Hi, Wendy.
Hey everyone.
Thank you for coming today.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, so you are running for trustee. Now, what is a trustee? What is that exactly?
So I'm running for a trustee for a local community college district. And basically the main responsibilities of a trustee is to provide the direction for the colleges. So there are two colleges in my district, San Jose City and Evergreen Valley. And we basically kind of do some strategic planning and figure out what direction we want the colleges to go in. So that includes, making sure that we've got budgets and the resources to provide for our students. And also our other big responsibility is hiring and firing the chancellor, who is basically the big boss of the district.
Oh, wow. That is a big responsibility.
Yeah, no pressure.
So what made you go into education? Like, when was that moment? Then you said, "This is what I want to be doing when I grow up."
For me, I think I've always known that I was meant to live a life of service and to help others. And the church didn't really call to me, so I wanted to figure out different ways that I could give back to the community. And all around me, growing up, I always wanted to find role models, people who looked like us, people
Yeah.
of color in positions of leadership. And I just wasn't seeing folks. And I got really concerned about that because, we are the demographic that's going to inherit this community. And if we're not at the table making the decisions, there's a famous saying from a congressman I used to do some work with. He always used to say, if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. And if we're not at that table, then we're not going to have any input into the decisions that have a very real impact on our lives.
I love that. I'm definitely going to use that when I'm talking to some of my friends out there. But let's take it back a little bit. What did you study in school? Where did you go to school? How did you actually prepare yourself for a position like this?
Okay. So I'm a proud product of public schools, K through graduate school.
Oh, yeah.
I think education is.
And you grew up in San Jose,
I
correct?
did grow up
Okay.
in the San Jose 408 East Side till I die. What's up? Evergreen, East Side, right here. Education for me has always been the great equalizer, right? My grandmother always taught her grandchildren to be like, it doesn't matter how hard you work, just as long as you have a good education, you'll be successful. So for me, that was my opportunity, and I'm so grateful to have those opportunities to get that education. So. I, went through regular high school education and, kind of did everything I wanted to do. And went to college and was like, just like everyone else, was like, well, I don't know what I want to major in. So I tried a bunch of different things, and then I decided to study political science because I always thought government was kind of cool, but
Yeah.
I never thought that I would ever, maybe run for office someday with it. And so I became really involved with student government in college and kind of all through growing up. But then I was like, okay, well, we'll see what I'll do with that. After college, I spent a couple of years teaching English in Japan on the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program, also known as JET. And as much as I love teaching, I realized that I wanted to go back and kind of give back to the community. So I went back to school. I went to graduate school in Indiana, if you can believe that. Can you
That's
imagine
awesome. That is so
a
awesome.
brown girl like me in middle of nowhere, Indiana?
At least you were very unique in the
Yes,
area.
I was exotic. And I was actually mistaken for international students too many times. I was like, what's going on? Anyhow, that's another story for another show. It was in graduate school that I was like, okay, I really want to be able to help people and use skill sets to really affect change. And so I went to graduate school to study public administration. And I spent 2 years in Indiana. And I was on this track to do kind of international development work and thinking like I would go save the children in Africa. But then when I was in Indiana, I got discriminated against. People were like, who are you? Why would you want to come here? Like, I got catcalled.
Wow.
I got told, go back to your country. And I remember thinking to myself, yo, this is my
I
country.
am American.
I am American. I say the Pledge of Allegiance every day. And so I switched gears. I totally did a 180, stopped kind of focusing on the international work, and I said, okay, well, we got a lot of domestic issues we got to
Yeah.
face here. And so in graduate school, I was also mentoring a bunch of Asian American undergraduates, many of whom hadn't met another Asian American outside of their family until they went to college. And that for me, that was crazy. Growing up in San Jose, I'm like, yo, there are people who look like me everywhere.
Yeah.
They're not so much in Indiana. And they really had a hard time adjusting and didn't want to embrace the rich cultural heritage they had, and it made me sad. And it was the first time that I really said to myself, that's not cool. Like, people are not proud of who they are and their
Yeah.
backgrounds. And I was like, no. So, kind of keeping the experiences of the students I was mentoring and, trying to match them with the skill sets I was getting as in graduate school, I was like, what can I do? So I came time for graduation. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I really employable? I wanted to mesh these two passions I have to help, people of color and to do this policy work. And that led me to do a 1-year fellowship in Washington, D.C., where I was working in Congress for Congressman Mike Honda, who
That
was
is so
a
awesome.
local congressman, awesome guy, salt of the earth, best boss around. And he's just been such a champion for education and for people of color, and has really been a face to a lot of the issues that our communities are facing. And so under his leadership, I learned about the policymaking process. I built relationships with national organizations who are working on behalf of folks who look like you and me, and really fell in love with it and want to continue to serve the community in that way. And I've been able to do that. And now I'm taking this crazy next step and running for office, which is
But I do have to say
amazing.
something. What I absolutely love about your story is that you took something negative and you made it something positive.
Yep.
And a lot of times I feel with young individuals, if something bad happens to them, it's like, oh, boo hoo hoo, I'm the victim. And it's just like, we'll do something about it. Like someone was mean to you, but you took that and now you're turning it around to help people so that same thing doesn't happen to somebody else and they can be strong enough to, have that educational support. So I absolutely admire that about you. So thank you.
Thank you.
For doing that.
Thank you. And it's not easy. And as I mentioned, I mean, if not us, then who?
Exactly. And so, are you online? Like, where can people actually find you online where they can, support you or get the word out or things like that?
So I do have a campaign website. It's a votewendyho.com. Pretty easy, short and sweet like me. And I'm also on Facebook. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/wendyho for trustee, all one word. But I hope to meet a lot of the viewers out there and to encourage them to get involved and to vote. If you're not registered to vote, the registration deadline is the 22nd of this month. So you've got a couple of days.
You can even get a mail-in ballot, guys.
Yes, yep. And
Just so you know.
And you can register online. You don't have to fill out a paper form anymore. So
you don't even have to leave your house,
Yeah.
period.
So what's stopping you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I also want you to just talk about briefly what are some recommendations you have for anyone who's watching that might want to get involved and take on more of a political position, kind of. So what's something that you recommend for someone who is in college or is in high school and is thinking of doing something similar?
There's so many opportunities right now. With the election around the corner, there are a lot of different campaigns that need a lot of help. And so an easy way to kind of get some experience is just to volunteer for a campaign. You can vote
Obama
campaign. Or Measure D in San Jose, which would raise the minimum wage from $8 to $10 an hour, which affects a lot of young folks who are struggling to make ends meet in this valley. And there are a lot of candidates like me and Thelma Boak, who is a candidate for Eastside Union High School District, who need a lot of help to get the word out about how amazing they are and how committed they are to making sure that we have opportunities for our students. You can phone bank, you can walk neighborhoods and talk to voters. If you're not so much a person who likes to talk to people, there's a lot of stuff that you can do behind the scenes, data entry, some analysis of data to figure out, which voters should we be talking to? Mm-hmm. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you guys can do. And it was so cute. There's some young kids that have asked me, like, how can I get involved? And I just tell them, like, you can make posters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys can make posters out there if you're watching and you're on the younger side, just get involved somehow. And I want to know if you do get this position, what are some of your goals? Like, what is it that you want to accomplish in this position?
Sure. So obviously, education is under attack right now, and our students aren't getting the services that they need in order to succeed. And I really want to make sure that the next generation of students have the same opportunities I did growing up, and providing the resources and support, some more financial aid, things like leadership development programs so that they can figure out how they can become more engaged in their communities and more marketable to employers. But I really just want to make sure that we're preparing our workforce for that next generation, because our unemployment rate is still pretty high here,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of people who are out of work who shouldn't be out of work. And giving them the skill sets that they need to be able to contribute to the local economy is what I want to be doing, because why else are we here? So
You definitely want to motivate people to get involved. We were talking about this briefly before, how I feel like having people get motivated to support something or make a change is kind of like pulling teeth. It's very difficult. You obviously, like anyone, you get involved with a cause or something if it affects you personally, which is something that I did. But I feel like sometimes people need to kind of step out of the lazy zone and get a little bit more involved. So, okay, so I just have to ask you, how old are you?
I just turned 31, and that's kind of crazy to me because I still feel like I'm in my 20s.
Okay, so the reason why I'm asking that is because in you're very young to be running for this position. When I think of someone who's in office, unfortunately, I just think that they're just a lot older. So I think that's kind of a big deal. So what kind of responses have you encountered because of that?
Obviously, my age is a huge factor. People don't think that I have the experience or the skills to be a good trustee, but I tell them, I am able to relate to students a lot better because I am closer in age, and I have this wealth of experience having worked in government and in the nonprofit world, and having this academic background that's going to make me a strong trustee. But I talk to other people, and they're really excited. Their eyes light up, and they're like, that's great that we need more young people who are pursuing public office, because again, we are the demographic that's going to inherit this community, and if we're not at that
Exactly.
table, well, then we're going to get eaten. So
Yeah. And so it's a big deal because you're going to be the youngest, and it's another big deal because
I'll be the first Asian American female on this board, as well as the first Filipino on this board, which is really super exciting.
what take that. I love that.
Yeah.
And how does that make you feel also on the fact that you're a female too? Have you encountered any, weird stuff that you're running and you're female?
Oh yeah, I mean there are a lot of haters out there. A lot of people who think that only men and white men at that are qualified to lead and give that direction. But my opinion is just as important as anyone else's, and I still put on one pant leg at a time, just like everyone else. And just because I pee, sitting down doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I think women offer a very unique lens in terms of looking at world issues. We have a very different viewpoint about policies around children and education because we're mothers, we're daughters, we're aunts, we're sisters, that a man just won't have that orientation for.
So what is your hope for future generations of females?
That they will empower themselves and believe in themselves enough to know that they can make a difference and that they can do anything a guy can do, and even better even.
And don't worry, girls, it might take you a little while to find out what it is that you want to do, but eventually you will find it if you believe in yourself. So
It's true.
it took me 26 years, but
Hey, who's counting?
we don't have to talk about that. If anyone has any questions and they might want to come and help you out, and they can volunteer, again, where can they do that, or where can they find you?
So again, we're online, votewendyho.com, and there's a little page where you can fill out an interest form and contact our folks. Also online on Facebook, Wendy Ho for a Trustee. We're also there, very active, trying to engage voters and reminding folks to register to vote and go help and be active in their communities.
Be proactive, be aggressive. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come out. Is there anything you would like to leave us before we go?
Remember to vote.
Yeah.
November 6th is around the corner.
And change starts with you, everyone.
Yes.
Vote for Obama and vote for her. I'm sorry, I just got to keep throwing it out there.
Yeah.
But once again, make sure you guys check her out on your website one more time.
VoteWendyHo.com.
There you go. And we'll be back next week. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us.
Thanks, Andrea.
And this has been the Guest List Show. Thanks, guys.